on Chaos Managed. Let's talk.
Back for another week of discussion.
Yep, we're discussing. I think this
We're disgusted.
Well, we are disgusted. We're going to talk about the whole ice fiasco.
It is a fiasco.
It really is. It is ridiculous.
Okay. My first little pet peeve on this whole deal. I'm trying to find the right words to use.
Yes. Yep, trying to keep it kind.
Okay. One of the big stinks that so many people are throwing out there is they need to take off their mask. Okay. These people are not wearing masks because they are some masked bandit.
Boogeyman. It's the boogeyman.
They're doing it because this is an elite force of individuals that are tracking down illegal aliens. And that can be anybody that happened to just jump across the border because they decided to let down the guard.
A lot of them are gang members and stuff.
A lot of them are. There are many of them that have been, they've committed crimes and they know it. Hey, if you got nothing to fear, you shouldn't be running. But the other thing is, there's a lot of people here that came here on visas that have expired.
And they never re-upped them.
Never re-upped them.
And the question with that is why? I don't understand that. Why?
And they'll give you excuses. I didn't know, paperwork, whatever. It doesn't make a difference.
You know what your visa, you know.
There are plenty of people that come here on a visa and they follow the rules. There are plenty of people that move to this country because they follow the rules.
Well, isn't it what they tell you if you go into a court of law or something, they tell you ignorance is no excuse?
So true.
I mean, so there's that.
But these people are dealing with some very sensitive information, and they're doing it for self-protection and protecting their families.
Yes.
This is why they're wearing masks. They're not trying to scare people or hide behind anything. Well, this is just made up things out there.
Well, it is made up because how many of these protesters are running around with masks
with a mask on?
Because they don't want people to know who they are on camera. But they are on camera.
But what they'll say is they're doing it because ICE is hiding, which is 9 out of 10 times, I'm going to call it a lie. They just don't want people to recognize who they are because they don't want to be called up on the carpet for what they say and do.
Well, exactly. They don't want to.
So that's my first
for action.
Little thing about this whole ICE.
I agree. Fiasco. It's a fiasco.
Well, it's ridiculous because you've got leaders in states that are up there behind the microphones.
That is that
are
big
screaming
that I need to pick.
That our current presidential administration is weaponizing and terrorizing citizens.
Well, first of all, okay, if you're a bystander that's running around on the sidewalk chasing these vehicles, you're not an innocent bystander.
Well, you're not innocent.
What's going on?
Yeah, you're there on purpose.
Happening. You are.
When you're standing there with your camera, filming the thing, getting in front of them, you're in the way. You're trying to be able to put something on TikTok, have it go viral, and somehow make money off.
That's exactly what it is. But I'm going to say shame on our leadership for getting up and inciting the people to get out there and take the videos.
Oh, yeah.
Inciting them to
be violent. Yes.
And to create violence. There's no place for violence.
It's not going to solve the problem.
A peaceful protest.
Well, what I don't understand is why are you people so hell-bent to keep illegal individuals in this country who are, in most situations, sucking our tax dollars up by using our services. The kids are going into our school systems using our resources once again.
Pick me. Yes. I think that part of the problem is this is a distraction against the fraud. This is a distraction from the fraud because we've got people with fingers in the cookie jar.
Fingers? They're up to their armpits.
Okay, yes, they dove in head first. They're so far into the cookie jar that they needed a distraction.
Oh,
so
probably.
We'll gather the troops and get them out there to fight for their rights. And And this is what's
Okay,
created a lot
I'm
of it.
sorry.
It's
If you're here
distraction.
in this country illegally, you do not have rights
Well,
because
you
you're
know-
not a United States citizen.
Okay, but now you've got to look at the rhetoric that has been pushed.
Oh, I
and this
know.
is the problem. There are a lot of people in this country that don't know what the rights are and what they aren't. They don't know that there are immigration laws on the books and nobody's followed them. So now that we're following them, it's created a problem.
Okay. I can't for 1 minute believe that anybody that is grown up in this country has no clue that we have immigration laws.
Are they teaching that in school these days?
They don't teach anything worthwhile in school.
Thank you. That's exactly my point. They don't know. Hell, they don't. Half of them don't even know what the true meaning of separation of church and state is.
Don't.
and that is sad.
That's why they're all crowing about having the 10 Commandments somewhere. And it's just like, okay, people, you better go look at the Supreme Court building. Oh my God, I'll get them out there on another riot.
Great. Good job.
I know. I'm going to be held for insurrection or something.
But I mean, that's half the problem. Ignorance is half the problem.
Well, and I think that's why some of the states, Florida is one of them, that has instituted a civics course mandatory in high school.
To know.
But you know what? I'm sorry, that's not enough.
There are civics courses already.
There are, but
it doesn't go far.
I don't think it's a required course. But in the state of Florida, it's now required for graduation.
Well, it should be.
So,
this is your country. Shouldn't you know how it runs?
You would think.
Well, I mean, it's kind of
important. No, why would they want you to know how it runs? Because then
they can't.
Knowledge is power. Exactly. You know what your rights are. You start to learn that, hey, wait a minute, the government doesn't have the power. The Constitution does not give the federal government its power.
Okay.
It limits what it is allowed to do.
Could it be that it has not been in the school all this time to the degree that we think it should be, specifically for the purpose of keeping people stupid so that they can do what they choose to do, and people for the most part are unaware?
Well, it's so much easier to tell somebody something and have them believe it when they have no foundation.
That's true.
If you have no clue what's in the Constitution, what the Bill of Rights is all about, what it means, where it came from, isn't it so much easier to sit there and say, well, like your church and state thing.
Church and state.
You cannot have church and state. It just butts up against, nope, can't do it. Because somebody wanted to put up a Christmas tree in front of town hall.
And they screamed church and state. But that's not what it is.
No, it's not.
It's basically about the government cannot institute a religion that everybody has to adhere to, because you had the Church of England, which is what they originally wanted to get away from.
They wanted to leave.
Well, that's exactly what it was. So that was one of the things that they established,
why they put it in there.
Separation of church and state, so that the government cannot tell you
have to be
how you should worship or who you should worship.
Right.
That's what that's all about.
Yeah. But, continuing on with this whole thing with the ICE situation and how people are wanting to fight against it with these sanctuary cities. First and foremost, I don't think we should have sanctuary cities.
I think they're doing away with those. Last I heard, they were putting something together where they're either doing away with them, or they're not going to give them
government funding. And of course, people are all just going ape over that one. How dare you?
But is that really the true purpose of government when it was initially set up?
The government's not there to take care of people.
That's not what the government is for at all.
They're supposed to be
just taking care of
our borders
secure,
which in past years they've failed epically.
That is what we're trying to do. We're trying to have a secure country once again, and people are pushing back on that.
And it's the same thing with the whole idea of give. handout for everything. The whole
That's
SNAP
not how it was
kerfuffle.
supposed to be. No, that's not how it was.
Stop standing there with your hand out. No, it used to be that you had, a lot of times it was churches that would have
Well, yeah,
place you
churches and
could go.
organizations.
Yeah, someplace you could go so that you had some place to get out of the weather and the elements and
Yeah.
have a safe
Yeah,
haven.
people donated to them for the people.
Yeah,
in need.
exactly. There were food banks.
Yeah,
They still
there
have
still
food
are.
banks.
There still are.
They're
food
all
banks.
over the place.
And it's easier to get a card refund
Well,
every
you
month
know
than to
why?
go to a food bank.
Because then you can go into pick a grocery store and you can go in and you can get things. And now they're crowing. Oh, what about?
Now they're limiting.
Because they're limiting what you're allowed to buy.
You're no longer allowed to buy soda. I don't even think that went into effect yet.
No, they were talking about it, but they're going to boycott water.
Come on, people.
We're
you know
gonna
how dumb you
We're
sound.
going to boycott water.
If you're boycotting water,
no bath, no shower,
no laundry,
no
there
clean
goes
dishes.
spaghetti night.
Oh dear, pasta's out.
I mean,
no
come
boiled
on.
potatoes.
And I'm sure it just meant they're going to boycott drinking water.
Right, but still,
wait
the
a minute.
stupidity.
There's water in Kool-Aid,
In tea.
water in tea.
Coffee.
There goes your coffee.
Oh, Starbucks is going to be out of business.
Y'all are dinked. There's water in everything. So get over your stupidity.
It was ridiculous.
This got me thinking with the whole, we can't buy soda. You know what? When we were first starting out, we were a young, poor couple, never, ever thought about going and asking for help for anything. And I know that there was freaking whatever, but we had a little bit of pride and a little bit of self-respect.
And you also had a little bit of baby.
We did. We had a baby. We didn't have a television. We did not have a home phone, and there were no cell phones back then, my friends.
Oh, God, no.
We didn't have a cell phone. We didn't have, there was none of that. There was no computers at that point in time. There wasn't any of that.
You had no internet, none of that stuff.
I think the only thing that they had was HBO. But we didn't have that because
you had
didn't have TV.
You had
there was MTV.
There was MTV, Showtime,
but we didn't
Cinemax,
have that
all that
because
stuff.
we couldn't afford television.
It was expensive.
Yeah, we couldn't afford television. My first couch came from a secondhand, I think it was East Coast Furniture, is where we got it from. I think we paid $10 for it.
Yeah.
And then we went to Joann Fabric and we bought some upholstery material stuff that was on sale. And Mom, Grandma, and we reupholstered the couch so that we had a decent looking couch.
But I think part of that whole thing, though, is because since we grew up, the way that we grew up in the 70s.
Well, you had to do for yourself.
You had to learn. We didn't have all these amenities. You didn't have everything at your fingertips.
But you still don't need all of them.
You don't. But the problem is the way that people have been raising their children.
They've been raised with it.
Stuff.
Yes. It's all stuff.
We just have to have the newest, the latest, the best, top. And look at how it is with cars. I cannot tell you how many people that Rick and I have known over the years. Not we're deeply friends or anything like that, but just people that you're aware of.
Yeah.
Brand new, big old truck, super quad cab, all the bells and whistles that the husband's driving. The wife's got this knockout SUV. Each one of these things, between the two vehicles, they're probably hitting $150,000 in car payments that they've got 10-year loans on, and they're crowing about not being able to afford things. But they go on like 3 or 4 2-week vacations a year. Christmas comes around and their kids have a stack of presents under the tree that you'd sit there and go, "Was this the store?"
That goes back to what you've already said. It's stuff.
It is stuff.
People have been, but this is advertising. Advertising is a form of propaganda. If you tell people you need this, you need this. You got to run out and you've got to get that.
And think with the propaganda, everything we do on social media, when you see all these news reports,
everything.
And this is what they're doing with all this, currently what is transpiring in Minnesota.
Feeding the hate. Yes.
They are. They're showing these pictures. And of course, now there's this big thing because of the shooting that transpired between the ICE agent and the lady that was driving the SUV.
Truly, that's a sad situation all around.
It is a sad situation for all parties.
Yep,
but
it is.
And we all have our thoughts and opinions on it. But you know what?
True, but
you
we
weren't
need to
there.
look-
You don't have all the evidence.
And
Stop
that's true.
being the judge and the jury in a situation that you don't have enough information about.
And you got to look at it this way. It was an incident and it happened. Neither of us were in either person's shoes.
No.
We don't know what was going through their head. We just don't know. And everybody can be an armchair quarterback.
Yes.
Everybody can be.
And you'll win the game
but
every time.
You're never going to be in those people's heads to know what they were thinking, what they were wanting, and what they were choosing to do.
Right.
And that's just
and part of the issue is with that particular situation is the fact that yes, we did have so many of the people out there videoing
it
and sharing things, and when you're being able to look at things from different perspectives
and to slow it down,
that's a benefit that the individuals that are in the moment
don't have
that.
No.
You can't see different angles because you're not going to say, "Oh, wait a minute, let me check this angle." No, that's not how it happens. No. It's literally seconds, nanoseconds.
Yeah, instantaneous.
And you've got to make choices that quickly. And to sit back and judge, no.
But what everybody can say is, why was everybody there to begin with? And that's what people need to say. Why was everybody there? If they would just have allowed ICE to go in and do the job that they were doing, that nobody else would have been there and everybody would have just been doing what they were supposed to be doing, I don't think we would be where we are today.
Perhaps if they did not allow, how in the world, first of all, did everybody know? How did the protesters know that ICE was going to go in there in the first place?
Well, from what I understand, they've been dogging them and following them throughout the city repeatedly, day after day. So if you know where they're staying, well, you can follow them. You know what their vehicles look like.
At some point, there's got to be a restriction of some kind set up to keep this from becoming a problem.
This is where protesting is supposed to look different. There's no problem with somebody standing on a sidewalk, saying what they want to say, holding up their sign, and protesting that.
Peaceful.
Yes, it is supposed to be peaceful. But when it comes to obstructing, that crosses the line.
Definitely.
That crosses the line. Now
that becomes an illegal act.
It does. And why the local police, well, yes, I know why they were told to stand down, but why the police don't go in and stop that. That has led to some of what's going on.
Yeah.
But if you've got your higher ups, your governor and whatever saying, don't. Let them burn down the city. We saw that before.
Yeah, that's always a good choice.
Well, and that should not be allowed.
No.
I don't care what your problem is.
No.
That should not be allowed. That is not the behavior on either part.
If they want to eliminate the conflict between the ICE agency and the protesters, the only way they're going to be able to do that is they're going to have to barricade them off and utilize the local police departments to maintain that boundary and let ICE do their work.
But somebody just needs to let them know, you can protest all you want.
Yeah.
They have a right to protest.
Sure.
Yes, they most certainly do. But they don't have the right to obstruct.
Well, so and when you see some of the things that these protesters are doing, I mean, they get aggressive. I've seen pictures of them
property.
Oh my goodness!
I've seen them throw a bicycle thing at somebody's truck, and it was not even ICE related. It was somebody trying to get through.
I saw a video
a signal or something
of a bunch of protesters, and the agents, they had I think it was some kind of a irritant that the weapon fired out. It wasn't a bullet. It was like some sort of a gas or
mace or something,
probably pepper spray on a steroid for all I don't know. But when they would fire it, you'd see this cloud go out. Well, they were actually trying to grab these guns, for better name, out of the officers' hands. That's getting a little bit aggressive.
That's not,
in my opinion. I've seen them where the protesters go. I mean, literally go and shove and hit at agents.
I have seen. Well, the most recent one was an agent that was after somebody. He had a warrant.
And
he was after somebody And I guess there was a kerfuffle that was going on, and the agent had him down pinned that he was trying to
Right.
whatever. And there was two that come out of an apartment building with a shovel and a broom and started beating the agent.
Wow.
And the guy got away, and I think the agent ended up shooting him in the leg or something. And they all ended up barricading themselves in the apartment. They ended up getting them and dragging them out.
Right.
And the officer and the guy that he shot both ended up going to the hospital, but that should have never been.
Did the people that were beating the officer get arrested?
Yes, they got arrested.
As they well should have.
That was obstruction, yes.
Well, not only was it obstruction, but it was assault and battery on top of it.
There was that too.
Because if you go and do that to any person,
to anybody,
that's assault and battery.
That is. So you know what, people, we need to do better as humans. We need to do better as humans. We got to stop this.
Well,
we've got to stop
first
this.
and foremost, we have to acknowledge the fact that there's right way to do things, wrong way to do things.
Yes.
First, when we're talking in this particular scenario, we're talking about immigration things. There's a right way to come into this country. And
That's
I know
true.
a lot of people, you know, it's sad when you see how conditions are in other countries compared to what we have.
That's true.
So those of you that like socialism, take that point, please.
And go where it is. And see how you
Exactly.
like it before you
Go
change
live
what
there
you
and
want.
see what it's really all about before you start
Before you
thinking
start
that
changing
everything's
what
going to be
you
free,
want.
that the government's going to give it to you, because nothing's free.
Ask anybody that came from Cuba. I have a friend.
Yeah.
I have a friend. Her folks came over with her. She was born there, and
Yeah.
they came over during the Mariel boat lift and whatever. And she can tell you what it's like to live under that type of control. It's
Talk to any of
awful.
these people for
It's
bring it
awful.
more recent, because now you're talking about events that happened back in the 50s and 60s.
50s and 60s. Yeah.
Talk about more recent things. When Venezuela, when that
Well,
whole
yes.
thing transpired and things changed, you went from a very prosperous
Yes.
country to one that became less than a third world nation.
It was awful. Yeah.
There were people
people
that
had
were being
nothing.
that were here stateside legally, and they were talking about how things had changed and trying to explain to Americans who have never experienced that kind of lifestyle what you're asking for when you're asking for socialism, and to really look into it before you think it's the bee's knees. But, you know, this is just it. You have to realize there are pathways to accomplish things. If they say that anything worth having doesn't come easy.
That's true.
And a lot of it has to do with, if everything's given to you on a silver platter, you don't have the level of love and respect for it that you really ought to.
But isn't that the problem that we're seeing with people nowadays? I mean, think about this.
Yeah.
60s and 70s, even 80s kids growing up, a lot of them didn't have and you just learn to do without and whatever. But as more and more things become available, and the parents, you know, they got raised up, well, I didn't have that as a kid. I'm going to make sure little Jimmy has it.
They're going to have it all.
And, little Susie's going to have everything.
No, they're spoiled rotten. It won't get out of my basement.
And but this is what we've created. We have created a society that sticks their hand out, because every time we've asked for something, it's been filled.
It's given.
So,
and we've made it easier and easier to get these things, because with this whole thing with SNAP about you have to work, 20 hours a week?
Yeah, 20 hours a week
is one of the qualifications. 20 hours a week. We're talking, it's a part-time job to get.
Yeah.
But see, the problem is they don't want the part-time job. They don't want any job. They just want the money and the stuff.
Well,
and they have their workarounds to be able to get all the stuff they want.
Well,
they've learned how to run the system, but the system's allowed it to happen.
Well, I was going to say that's a problem on both sides of that. But now they're trying to fix the system.
They need to.
And they're wanting the people to conform, and the people are not happy with having to conform with the fixes.
There's a lot of individuals that
never had to, and now they don't know how.
Well, exactly, because they were raised in the system, and they learned how to work the system. Yeah.
And now the system's not going to work for them anymore, so it's a bit of a pickle.
Well, go socialism and watch it all fall apart, and none of us will have anything. Woo! But, there really is. You have to understand it. And this is where part of it is. And this is why we often talk about the fact of having conversations about things. I'm not wanting to argue with people.
No, we need to be able to sit down together, talk about our ideas, and find the middle where we can start working
and start putting truthful things out there instead of just snippets that run across the screen or a quick video that somebody posts.
All the memes that are out there. and we have to find a way to stop the hate.
Well, that's just it. Because
the hate.
If you are a naturalized or a natural born United States citizen,
yes,
that's what our unity starts at.
Yes.
Because that is we the people.
That is we the people.
And you have to start realizing the fact that the people sitting up in those big offices there in DC, they're not really there wanting to help us.
No,
not like the founding fathers originally had designed things.
The initial intent.
Yes. Things have been changed over the centuries here.
Well,
and it's become more about
power and expanded.
Yes, they have
become bigger and bigger.
But we, the people, have also a fiduciary duty because we've got to keep those things in check.
Well, that's
where your voice has to come in. There's the gentleman that we were watching, that Chris Britton.
Yes,
he is trying to spearhead a kind of the same thing where you get people together and that you have a way of communicating this to the federal government and the leaders and things, that we the people are, millions strong here, that saying this is not how it's supposed to be. This is what we want.
And that's kind of the premise behind our common ground is we want to start getting people together, start having those conversations in a reasonable manner. No hollering, no screaming, no name calling.
You don't need to do that.
I mean, every post I see, I don't care which side of the fence
you don't need to be throwing cuss words around like they were growing like
they're
weeds.
Just downgrading
everything.
Because it's one side against the other. No, it's us. It's we the people.
It's we the people
against them.
Yeah, and granted, you're not going to agree with a person 100% of the time. That's like
we don't agree 100% of the time.
But
it just doesn't happen.
You can listen to what the other person has to share,
and you can find common ground.
Right, because it's in a lot of these things, there's at least one base point that starts the whole thing. Yep. So that is your point of common ground.
That somebody says, but I can get on board with that.
Well, that's just it, because there can be something that's in there that you might not have thought of, or a direction that you didn't think something was going to turn.
Exactly.
And someone else points it out to you. It's mind-opening sometimes.
Wait a minute moment. And then you start looking into it. But this is why we got to stop name calling and pointing fingers.
Shut off TikTok.
Well, no kidding. I mean, stop the name calling, stop the finger pointing.
Right.
And have conversation.
Yeah, definitely. It's so much of the things that you see out there, it gets pointing fingers towards Democrat versus Republican. And so much of it, when you see that going on, it's pointing fingers at specific individuals in the government.
That's true.
People have to realize.
And people need to get away from the individual.
Yeah, and realize that it's the ideas that are transpiring that's important.
Well, and
not
that's
who
true.
did it.
Well, exactly. And you can't just sit there and say, I mean, let's face it, one person does not run the government. No. We might have one person that is the figurehead for the U.S.
Yeah.
Commander in chief, whatever you want to call him. But that person does not have
all the power,
any kind of ability to have total control and become a dictator. I mean, that is why our founding fathers set things up. So we have a system of checks and balances. That is why we have a constitution. And I know that there's people out there saying, well, nobody's following the Constitution. That's not true. I mean, we've got our judicial branch that sits there and makes sure.
We do. But sometimes when you look at some of the things they're looking at, it's like, what are you people seeing?
And I have to wonder, why are they looking at some of
But then, a lot of it is, though, too, they talk about the Supreme Court and the law part of things and legalizing things. The Supreme Court, when you look at what they do, when they look at laws that are out there, they give an opinion.
That's right. It's an opinion.
It's not
law.
Putting a law out there.
No, the only ones that can make laws is the Congress. And then you've got your checks and balances with the veto, where the House can say no, the president can say no, and then they can override.
Say 2/3 of us say yes anyway.
Well, exactly. I mean, they can do the ha-ha if they want. I mean,
I think they should have party poppers.
Party poppers? Ha-ha. Wouldn't that be fun?
Make it entertaining.
Government expense. No, bad.
Okay.
So that's kind of where we're at, people.
Get it together.
Yeah, let's start having conversations.
Talk with one another. Listen before you start
to each other. Name calling and throwing.
Well, even at that, before it would, because a lot of times when somebody puts an idea out there, you think you know the direction that they're going to go with it, and you could be right, but you could be wrong. You have to
ask questions.
Keep it quiet long enough so that they can say their part.
Let it play out a little bit.
But you have to make it an even exchange, because some people like to dominate the conversation.
That's true. That's true.
It is true.
That's true.
You got to leave room for somebody else to have their 2 cents worth.
Well, that's where they need one of those speed dating timers. Okay, your turn.
Pass the wand.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, you know what? You know those little clappy hands that you can get on the sticks?
We can everybody clapped.
I just want one of them so that when the other person's talking too long, you just reach over and pop them.
Okay, now that's mean. No,
that could get dangerous.
But there you go.
American gladiators.
Yeah, there
jousting. You go. Get on the pole. I want to talk to you.
I like the stick. I like the stick that if you're holding the stick, you get to speak and then you get to pass it.
Yeah, but then if somebody can hog the stick.
Well, that's true. Well,
and if they're taller and they do this, come on. Some of us wouldn't have a chance.
I know. That'd be me. I'm short. I'm height deficient.
I'd be the one doing this. Come on. You can get it. We'll hire.
Bring out my little pop-up stool. Get things off the top shelf.
Okay. So
there we go. That's our thought.
You want to get on board with Common Ground? We're building a page specifically for it, and we're going to build a Facebook community to go with it too.
We're going to have a Facebook community
so that we can chat,
talk.
And it'll be monitored so that if people
be respectful.
Get off the nut, we're going to yank your comment.
We'll be respectful.
But it'll be out there for anything, and it's just open and going to be an open, honest forum so that people can exchange and not be afraid to ask a question. Mm-hmm. For instance, because we're so stymied and afraid of saying things like, referring to somebody as a Black person, because I'm white. How dare I say that? That's racist. No, it's not. It's honest. If somebody is of a Black race, I don't like using the term African American, because
I don't either.
That could get really Americans. Deep. You want to figure out what kind of American I am? Boy, that's a laundry list.
I was Heinz 57 American.
Exactly. And that's not a breed anymore. But I mean, it's like you can't always look at somebody and know.
No.
So you kind of break it down as simple as you possibly can. There shouldn't be any stigmas attached to these things, and but they've created that. And I'm not saying to other people, I'm saying through the media and things like this.
It's the divide and conquer.
It is. It's more to keep separate us.
It's to keep us at each other's throats, because if we stand together, we might accomplish something.
Exactly.
Might accomplish something.
But we want the little community to be where you can be free to put things out there, but it needs to be done in a respectable way.
Yep.
You're not going to be using terminology that's inappropriate, because inappropriate doesn't work.
No, it just doesn't.
So
if you want to get conversations started, pop out on our Facebook. Pop out on our website. Not yet. We don't have Facebook up yet. I mean, we do have a Facebook page,
but not for Common Ground.
Not for Common Ground. But you can pop out on our website, couchtalk.com. You can hit the store button, and it'll take you right to our store, where you can find a Common Ground shirt, hat, whatever, hoodie, whatever, coffee cup.
Ooh, a mug.
And get out there and wear it and start conversations.
Wear it, share it.
Yep.
Be part of it.
Yep. Start
Because
conversations. We
don't
start
want
coming
this
together
just to be some
as
little
Americans.
rinky-dinky thing. No, we want this to go nationwide.
We want it everywhere.
So that everybody
We want
has access to it.
conversations. Yep.
Because I think we're going to find that you're going to find a lot more people that
Have things in common than you think.
Yeah.
Just by watching social media. Social media is a garbage can.
It's a dumpster fire.
It is. It's a garbage can.
Well, it's another way to get you separated.
Well, indeed.
So
there you go, people. Coffee on.
Chaos managed.
That's Couch Talk.